King of glory. The psalmist David says, who is this King of glory? The captain of the host. And it's interesting in that same psalm, in Psalms 24, in the beginning of the psalmist says, the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and all they that dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord, or who shall stand in his holy place? And I referred to this earlier in the week. John, in his gospel, begins the gospel saying that the Word, he talks about the Word. He says the Word is God. The Word was with God. And all things were created by the Word. Jesus Christ is the Word. And he is the one who ultimately was the creator, because God spoke it so. See, that's important to us, because this tells us the importance of the Word. And what happens in society is that when the Word begins to be pushed aside, then the spirit of darkness is allowed to come in. And I think this is very well illustrated to us during the days of Josiah, when who was one of the kings of Judah. It says that it had gotten to the place to where the word or the scrolls had fallen back behind a cabinet and wasn't even missed. And they were in the process of repairing the house of God. And they found these scrolls, and they began to read it. And as they began to read these scrolls, people's hearts were pricked, and they began to cry, and they began to weep, and they began to repent. And then they brought it to the king, and he says, we're going to read this before the whole nation. And the word brought revival. And see, that's why I'm saying is that what we need is a renewal of the word. You see, unfortunately, here in America, back in the 60s, the word was taken away from the let's say society as a whole, because the schools were told by our Supreme Court that you can't bring that in here anymore. You can't read that in here anymore. And so the word was silenced. And then you had a generation that grew up without hearing the word being read, being talked about, and it began to fall into disuse. Well, when that happens, then this gives an opening to the spirit of darkness. And this is the time when Jesus came upon the earth, that he was also living in this time when the word had been corrupted, and it wasn't having its effect of being able to defeat the enemy. So who is this King of glory? It's Jesus Christ, the Word, and the Word triumphant, and the Word that we need as a part of our daily lives to help us to live and walk in victory. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.